And Tim Romer is joining us right now, the former U.S. ambassador to India. He served under President Obama. He was a 9/11 commissioner, also a former United States congressman, now a key Obama supporter. Ambassador Romer, thanks very much for joining us. And let me get right to the issue at hand. Is it appropriate for the Vice President of the United States to issue this kind of condemnation of the Republican presidential candidate based on an anonymous source in a British newspaper without any confirmation this is actually what was said about the President of the United States?
Look, Wolf, nice to be with you. As a former ambassador, I am appointed overseas not to serve, per se, President Obama, Republican or Democrat, but hope that whether it's a CEO, a cabinet minister, a Democrat or a Republican, they're Americans, and you want them to do well overseas. Certainly the Vice President, myself, the Obama team, wish Governor Romney well, representing America in a high fashion with good results. Hopefully, it's not about fundraisers, it's not about platitudes, it's not about photo ops, it's about policy. And when he goes to Great Britain, just as Barack Obama did in 2008 of July, he met with David Cameron, with Prime Minister Gordon Brown, with the opposition leader, and he talked about specifics. He talked about the timeline in Afghanistan and troops. He talked about supporting NATO and our troops and being effective. He talked about sanctions with Iran, which he's been very effective in implementing. He talked about al-Qaeda and getting bin Laden, which he's done. Those are substantive things that I think the American people want to hear about Governor Romney. And this is a big question about Governor Romney's experience as he goes overseas.
Well, he spoke about all those things in his major speech before the Veterans of Foreign Wars yesterday. He addressed all those issues. The specific question is, there is this anonymous quote in a British newspaper. We don't know if it's true. There's no name attached. The campaign, the Romney campaign, issued a statement saying this: today, the race for the highest office in the land was diminished to a sad level when the Vice President of the United States used an anonymous and false quote from a foreign newspaper to prop up their flailing campaign. The President's own press secretary has repeatedly discredited anonymous sources, yet his political advisors saw fit to advance a falsehood. We have very serious problems confronting our nation, and American families are hurting, yet the Obama campaign continues to try to divert voters' attention with specious, shiny objects. We have more faith in the American voters and know they will see this latest desperate ploy for what it is. So let me repeat the question. Why would the Vice President, I can understand other campaign surrogates, if you will, but why would a sitting Vice President issue this condemnation of Mitt Romney and his campaign based on a British newspaper with some anonymous quote?
And again, Wolf, why would Governor Romney or his campaign spend so much time putting this statement together when they have pledged to stop criticism at the water's edge and do foreign policy and talk about how to benefit America? You know, the president is talking.
They were reacting. Excuse me. They were reacting to the statement that the Obama campaign put out and the Vice President signed. It was their reaction to what the Vice President said. They weren't trying to make this an issue in London. They denied from the start that anybody in a position of authority in the Romney campaign made such an abusive statement about the sitting President of the United States. So the question is, why would you react? When I say you, I mean the Obama campaign in the way you did.
Again, Wolf, I'm hopeful, and I think Americans are hopeful, that we're going to elevate this campaign, and we're going to hear about how we create jobs with our foreign policy, as President Obama has done with doubling exports and increasing exports to places like India that create jobs in America. We want to hear what Mitt Romney would do to create jobs in America and not outsource them. We want to hear why Mitt Romney disagrees with David Cameron and the British people on the timeline in Afghanistan. We want to hear why Mitt Romney did not prioritize bin Laden and going after bin Laden, and the president successfully brought him to justice. Let's talk about substance. Let's not get into these press releases that go back and forth attacking one another. And let's not you and I do it with our time on TV.
I agree. The issues are important. There are serious national security differences, serious domestic economic differences, social issues. That is all obviously worthy of debate. But a sitting Vice President of the United States condemning an anonymous quote in the Telegraph a newspaper in London, which the Romney campaign says is totally, totally false, that no one in a position of authority would say such a thing. That surprised me. And that's why I raised it with you and the Obama campaign trying to make a big deal out of it. But I agree. Let's focus it on the substantive, important issues of the day.
And there are plenty to talk about, Wolf. Job creation, deficit reduction, getting Democrats and Republicans to work together, returning to the days when we didn't criticize sitting presidents when we went overseas, looking for bipartisan foreign policy, strengthening America, bringing the American dream to more and more people, making sure that we see if Mitt Romney and the president disagree on an issue, you know, let's have a vigorous debate about that. And there's plenty they